Hey everybody, how you doing? Duck here. Just wanted to go live tonight and cover the market, see how things have developed after the daily close there. So yeah, what we're looking at right now is Bitcoin, of course. We always start there. And basically we had a couple things happening here. Okay, so when we first identified this pattern, let me move some of this out of the way here. When we first identified this pattern, which is the bearish bat, we had identified it right here basically, okay? And it did proceed to sell off a little bit, but a lot of times we do often find a little bit of a higher high just to put in the divergence. And also we kind of jumped the gun here by only going to the 867 retracement when our actual target here is an actual 886. So look, all that really happened is this went up and actually got the 886. Okay, so that's not the biggest deal in the world. And then we also have now proceeded to close below the POC here of this volume profile. So in essence, if we take a look at this, this is basically, I mean, we shouldn't even be freaking out. We talked about this last time, okay? We talked about potentially putting in a third lower high. We talked about when we made this first initial dump that we would come up and we would back test this on like the 4 hour, right? So basically what we're looking at now, if we can hold these levels, we're aiming now down here for this long target entry zone, take profit area. If you happen to be short here, take profit area would be here between basically as low as 55,300 to our basically 56,200. So anywhere in that like $1,000 range you can layer. There is a CME gap fill at like 54.4, so technically that could maybe fill, and it just ends up going just a just a little bit lower here. So if we were to get this down here at 54.4 in this area here, I mean, again, it wouldn't be that crazy. So let's see kind of what we'd be looking at now to tighten this up, okay? So as we've gotten further price action development, we can now fib from our swing low A to what ideally, hopefully, is now our swing high D, okay? So this is going to give us down here, the bottom right here is at 54.4, and it's a 1618, okay? So you know, we can layer all the way down there, and you know that we don't want to ape in everything as soon as it gets down here, right? We just layer in. Let's wait for some kind of double bottom confirmation. I know that's kind of hard for you guys to see because there's two blue lines there, so watch. Let me get rid of them. This was what I was talking about, okay? This blue line down here is the 1618 golden mean ratio of the current bearish bat, okay? So this was that target area that we were looking at as a potential worst case scenario right now for the bulls. People that longed this, what they thought was maybe a breakout, which, I mean, it's still possible. Anything's possible. This can get invalidated. That's why we have our stop up here, right? So basically we really just don't want to lose 60K. We could even tighten this stop up a little bit more and go above the X at this point. So something like that. We could even be a little tighter on our stop just to play it safe, okay? So stop loss 59,850, okay? So that's not a very that's not a very wide stop, you know, it's pretty fairly conservative. So if you were to take a short here at this D and you had a stop just above that line and you were targeting this 1618 golden mean ratio, that is a 9-to-1 trade, okay? So this isn't necessarily a trade setup, it's just price action wave analysis, okay? This is a 1 hour time frame. So when we have 1 hour time frames, you know, the significance of the pattern is less, okay? So we're basically fighting against larger time frames that are bullish, okay? So in the long run, all we're trying to do is get filled here. We're not overall bearish. Let's just say that this is bullish selling, okay? So if this is bullish selling, we want to fill our bullish long order, right? So let's see if we could get down here. So let's do another thing. So that this level right here is a 1618 from the swing low A to the swing high D. If we take that same fib and we do the C to the D now, we have another 1618, okay? So we have a second pair, we have a pair of 1618s here, okay? So this area is basically our kind of zone. It's a little tighter or a little deeper than we might have thought, but I mean that happens, right? So like sometimes, look up here, right? We thought it was maybe here, and look, it just went a little deeper. So again, if we thought it was 56 flat or 56.2, maybe it's 55, right? So just a little bit deeper, but it doesn't matter as long as we're not using crazy leverage. And we layer in, you could layer in from as high as 56 to as low as 54, just like that, okay? So now that we've done that, you could potentially, you know, you could even exit the short at the top of the target area and then flip long and layer in once you exit the short, right? Then just start layering, whatever you want to do. But that's basically the area that we're targeting. So let's look for more variables, okay? So of course, once we get here, we're going to see some sort of price action diverging, just like it did right here, okay? So this divergence I'm talking about right here that we see, if you look here on the RSI, see this divergence right here, bearish divergence at our completion zone area right here, at the POC of the volume profile, at the D target entry for the short of the bearish bat. And not only that, but on a higher time frame, we have another harmonic that was right here too, okay? So there's two harmonic completion zones happening here. So now if we're looking to fine tune our target area, okay? So what I'm gonna do here is stop is still right here for a short, okay? This is just for a short. Once we fill long, that stop is out of here, okay? So what we want to do now is I want to look from the swing low, previous major discernible swing low, to this swing high on April 2nd here a couple days ago, and now look at what we just did, okay? So we have a 50% retracement that's happening basically right here in the sweet spot of our target area, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that fib again. Also, just before I do, you can use this 1618 as protection down here for a stop loss. So I would let that 1618, if it gets tapped, and you know, come below it. And this is how we would place a stop for the long side, okay? So that being said, this is now again remains our layer zone, so I'll identify that. For now, again, it's still a little too early to call. This is just our radar here, okay, on our radar. As we approach the level, things will become much clearer for us, okay? So this is that line in the middle there. Okay, and I'll stretch our box out here. And this is going to be our buy zone for our BTC long. We're going to accumulate a position here in the buy zone. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So basically you're going to have this initial short in some kind of double bottom price action, and then we're going to shoot out and ideally shoot the highs. Okay, so that is our Bitcoin analysis. Let me get us out to the 4 hour real quick here. Zoom back in. Okay, so let's move along now and check out Ethereum. Whoops. So Ethereum, similar things happening here, where we are looking to identify our buy zone now that price action is developing. So let's see what's happening here on Ethereum. So we have this larger harmonic up here. That's our target area on a higher time frame. Okay, so let me get rid of it for now. So a couple things are going to happen here on Ethereum. We have this downsloping trend line here that we've identified in white that's basically going to fall right into our long zone target area. Okay, so as we approach this levels, let me do one thing for you guys real quick. I don't know if this volume's bothering you guys or not. It's hard for me to tell on my end, so I'm just gonna go down with it anyways. Okay, so moving back along. Okay, we're back. All right, so moving along. Ethereum buy zone identification here. We're looking at this downsloping trend line. It's falling right here into our long zone, right? So if we extend this even a bit more, we're looking for potentially, that's deeper, right? I don't know how deep we'll get, but that's definitely something we got to consider. Again, this is all going to depend on Bitcoin, right? Are we going to reverse at 56.2? If so, we're barely going to get this on Ethereum. But if Bitcoin gives us the 54.4, well, now we might see these zones on ETH. Okay, so either way, we're just looking to identify our layer long. Okay, so let's tighten this up a bit. On this low time frame here, we have two harmonics that just happened. So on this smaller structure, let me make it yellow so you can see it in there. So we basically, I'll even delete it real quick. We basically have a X, A, B, C, D pattern. And again, we hit an 886 and we never went above that previous X high. Okay, so again, we have this smaller structure that's going to proceed to sell off. Okay, so we also then will be painting on the larger structure, right? X, A, B, our new now put in C high anchor point here, and then that'll sell off into a 786. Okay, so both of those harmonics basically align their targets in this same area. So we already know that the blue harmonic, which is going to be a bullish Gartley, and a bullish Gartley is gonna fucking moon. Okay, so if we hold there, that's really where we want to reverse. Can this turn into something else and come down here? Sure, it can. So this happens, harmonics morph. This could end up being a bullish butterfly or something. Okay, so we have to be mindful of this area first, but if not, we know where we're going next. Okay, so that's why I kind of had that other area identified. Okay, so let's identify the target area entry here. So we have the 786, so we will mark that and we'll make it really clear. We'll put it in orange or something. Okay, and then I'll delete that harmonic. Okay, so you know where that orange line came from, right? The orange line is the 786 from this low to this high. Okay, see the blue line right there, 786. Okay, The next thing we're going to do is fib from our smaller harmonic, which we have a bearish bat painting right now, and we're going to fib this one as well. And we could see that where this neckline fell, we have a 1272. So that retracement would be right here. Okay, so let's delete that. We have some real strong argument now here for target area, because one of these targets, this orange line, fell right on this previous white line we already had here. Looking back, that was the previous high of the previous head and shoulders pattern that we put in on March 13th-ish, okay? So that's where we're getting this, that we're ideally looking for this up thrust back test as support and then shoot the highs, okay? That's been our plan all along. If that fails, we go to plan B, but right now that is plan A. So target area for our Ethereum long, again, we're going to be simultaneously watching Bitcoin here, but we're basically looking for 1944 and that neckline at basically 1930, 19 and a quarter, whatever you want to call it. So layer 19 and a quarter to 1950, excuse me, for a long on Ethereum. Really quick, I want to also just make sure, can somebody tell me that the sound is good? Sound check. Let's see. Okay, sound is good. All right, cool. We'll keep moving along. Thanks, guys. All right, it's hard for me to tell. All right, so moving along. Binance coin here. Binance coin, it did something interesting last night. It got really bullish, and it actually broke through that overhead resistance that we had identified, okay? So basically what it did is last night, as Bitcoin was basically chopping sideways, that gives these altcoins a chance to, you know, do something about it, right? That's when they can run, when Bitcoin kind of chops. So what it looks like happened here is we ended up putting in a pretty decent little inverse head and shoulders pattern, but even though we did that, it kind of seems like the target was hit, okay? So let's take a look at this. Again, this harmonic is on a higher time frame. We'll take that somewhere else. Okay, so if we were this neckline right here, this line in blue, and we took a measured move from this previous area where traders settled up at $322, we measure that neckline, we paste that, we bring this over, and I'll extend it a bit, but as you can see, we clearly hit a target, okay? I even measured that conservatively. We could have probably came all the way from the low to the neckline, and you might have hit like the full target, okay? So that is basically, yeah, you pretty much, you're right in there, okay? That's why I do it a little more conservative, because we want to be sure that we fill. We don't need to, you know, pull teeth about trying to get to the absolute top here. Okay, so measured move, hit the target, traders take profit. We could see a potential small retrace or not, you know what I mean? It just depends on Bitcoin again, if we're gonna hold. I had identified to you guys that we had a critical area at 58,400, and so far we've held above that. So that's still, again, it doesn't matter when we break through something, it's more about the follow through price. So if we can see a sell off here on Bitcoin, we could see this is basically what we're expecting, not expecting, but hoping to see on Ethereum, is this back test of this previous you know, discernible neckline there. So this would be an area that we would hopefully look to kind of put in some kind of double bottom, and then we run again on Binance. But we'll just have to see. And again, what looks like is happening here is mm, basically like almost a symmetrical triangle here, and I don't really like these because they're neutral, which means their target uh, it goes both ways, right? It could break up or down. So if I was this pattern and I were to break up, I would do something like this, right? And I would probably put in a higher high. If the break down though, check it out. This is when we fall right into this area. We also have a major square up here at this level, okay? So right now what I'm seeing here for targets is looking a little more like this, okay? So let's get rid of that resistance. We don't care. We're trying to flip it as support now. We have a neutral pattern here that has a measured move to both the up and the downside. The downside putting us right into our sweet spot buy zone here, okay? So let me clean that up a bit. We'll see how that develops. Ideally, this square up, if you can get a fill at 340, that would be sick. Okay, so that would be really good entry here. Okay, and then your stop on anything is going to be below this previous level down here. So stop down there at 315. We don't want to see a stop, or we don't want to see price below 315 at all. That would be devastating. Okay. So let's see what happens. Looks like maybe they're trying to square this up right here at 373 real quick and then maybe send it out of this zone. But ideally, we are looking to layer long here. So this is our buy zone. Target on BNB from 340 to 350. 340 to 350, okay? All right, this is YFI. Again, look what happened. We painted this last night, okay? We haven't even checked on this since the last stream. Look what happened. We put in the basically 618. You could have called this a 618. You see how close it was to a 618? If this was a 618, what that means is we're looking for 786 right here, and we got a 786, okay? So if this remains true, we just painted a bearish Gartley on YFI USDT, okay? That's not good for the bulls, but that's really good for our plan, right? So we came back up, we failed against that previous resistance area. Looking back left, look, this was critical resistance, okay? So, you know, came back up, tested it, broke through, couldn't hold, failed, and then dumped, okay? And then now we came back up, we're testing it again and sold off, never was able to get back up to that area, okay? So if that remains true, we now start fibbing. If the swing high is in, we take the swing low, we take it to the swing high here. I'll tighten that up a little bit, bring this harmonic up just a hair. Okay, so we're looking for identifying our 1618 golden mean ratio down here. That is at 32,800, okay? So if we bring this up to 32,800, we could start to dial this in, all right? So the next thing I'm looking at here, let me just draw a new box. Next thing we're looking at doing is fine-tuning the high side of this box here. So if we fib from the C low to the D high, we see our other 1618, which is at 33.9. So basically we have an area from 32.8 to 34 on YFI that we want to see as a potential long entry, okay? So this would also, check this out, this would also paint our consecutive higher low here. So we've been looking to paint this higher low right there in that same area. So that gets us into this box from the harmonic, okay? Next thing we're looking at is from the previous low to high on a larger kind of view, from low to high, and we have a 618 retrace right here, 618. So I'll make this one, we'll make it just a darker shade of green because it's all green right there. Okay, so that, I don't, sorry if you guys can't see it as good. This area here, again, we had 3 fibs, 2 1618s, and then a single 618 off of a larger structure. Everything's happening right there, okay? So ideally, we want this to hold up. We don't want to see price above this X, okay? That's just not what, we just don't want to see that. If we do see that, there is a chance that this squares up here still, okay? So what could happen here is something like this, okay? So at that point you would see a 1272, and that's more of a, it's more of like a cipher, even a butterfly, the beginning of a bearish butterfly, right? So again, would that be something we freak out about if we go up just a little bit, come back down? I don't think that's the end of the world. I think that just traps more people. Ultimately, our stop area of concern is this high side mark here, which comes back from this previous high up here, okay? So that's where these highs are. I'll even mark this other one so we could see where we are. Okay, so let's come back left and let's see where we are. So look, we basically, I don't know that we'll reach that one because we have this one to deal with, okay? Right where, so we have this congestion area here that's helping us on our bearish argument, okay? We just have 2 critical, we have a previous neckline and we have a previous overhead resistance, both of them happening right there where price is slamming right into and putting the brakes on, okay? So hopefully we get this dump back into this long entry area. Moving along, we have dash. Let me take this now. Let's go to the daily for some of these here. Okay. So the reason we're on the daily for the alts is because that's the setup. Okay, so depending on the time frame we identify the setup, that's the time frame we want to be taking the trade on as well, okay? So yes, well, the 4-hour may be bearish on Bitcoin and we're trying to create a bearish argument on it. The daily is still overall bullish, okay? So we don't want to forget that, don't confuse ourselves, okay? When you see me post one chart that might look bearish and another one that looks bullish, it's you gotta check the time frames, okay? Be mindful of the time frames, okay? So here we go. What did we have happen here? Price came up, we hit this neckline again, sold off, had a partial retrace, and then we were able to just rally and had this big bullish engulfing candle. So that's a good sign for our take profit targets, okay? So what we're looking for now again is to back test this previous neckline here as support. Hopefully we double bottom and then we run. If we fail there, we basically simply, if we fail here, we lose it, back test it as resistance. That's when we get this, okay? So again, daily time frame, Bitcoin's only bearish on the 4-hour. We may only get this first area, okay? So as we approach the level, we'll set alerts as well. But if you feel a couple here, it's no biggie, and you feel a couple more here, well, that's no biggie, because ultimately it happens, And as long as we continue to put in a higher low than this previous low over here, okay, as long as we don't compromise those lows, anything above that is fair game, okay? This is all going to depend on the divergences as we approach this level. Ideally, what we're going to be looking for at this level is going to be hidden bullish divergence. If the hidden doesn't appear at the level with some kind of lower time frame pattern, we're going to then be looking for classic bullish divergence at this, that major kind of Chad entry. This is just kind of the people that missed out down here entry. But a lot of times people like this entry more because it confirms a structure. You know what I mean? Sometimes, see right here, we could have sold off and failed. Structure would have been invalidated, but we broke through, and now a back test would confirm it. Really nice. So a lot of traders, they won't even take anything until this level. So the fact that you're entering right here, it's not a big deal. This is where good traders enter, okay? You're not doing anything wrong. The only thing you could be doing wrong is over leveraging, okay? If you're anywhere from 2x to 5x, somewhere in that range, you can withstand the storm down here and still ride it out to profit. Because sometimes what will happen is people will have bids only down here and they get left behind. We talk about that. So, price comes down here and just leaves them behind. They miss their fills. So we need to have both areas on the radar, okay? Just like we have both of these areas on the radar, okay? There's two targets up here, just like there's two targets right here, okay? This is just areas of buying the range low or the really range low and then trying to sell the range high. And in here, in the middle of all that, basically right here is no man's land, right? We don't want to be in no man's land entering trades right there. We would rather buy the lows, buy the highs, right? So again, what I mean by kind of a range there is if I were to take a channel here and like make a high here of this previous X right there. See how this is just kind of the range middle? So we need ideally it'd be nice to get closer to this bottom, but we'll just have to see how this plays out. We don't have a crystal ball here. We need more candles. We need more development. We have to see if these square ups are tested or not. We have to see if a pattern develops here. We have to see how Bitcoin responds. Lots of variables, okay? Similarly here we have chain link. So the difference between link and previously on YFI or on Dash, I think that was just Dash. Dash shot this up to this level here, okay? Chainlink didn't get that, okay? So while Dash could look for this as a potential back test, Chainlink cannot. It's still at the neckline, right? This is going to be the level on Chainlink. You can see why we're looking at that, right? It just depends on how bullish the asset is, how many buyers stepped in, and how high did they push this when they had the chance. And because of that, price stuck way higher. So there's less supply, right? It was bought up, so price, it's harder to push it down. Buyers have stepped in, but look what we have right here on Chainlink. We basically have like a confirmation double top right here, okay? See that? So not good for bulls that are holding here. Ideally that's going to sell off, and then we're going to be looking at this upsloping trend line as potential support. We're also going to align that with, again, our fib from high to low. We identified where that aligns. We have both a 786 and an 886 area where the fibs aligned here, okay? So if you take those fibs and you do something like this, okay, that's how we can create this sweet spot kind of area that we would identify. Let's see if I could do this like this for you. Basically, I'm just staying in the touch points of the boxes here, and we can get rid of those boxes a little bit. This is gonna move, so don't hold this in stone here. But if we were attempting to just guesstimate, right? We don't do duration, but I mean, you can do a guesstimation, but it doesn't matter. Price doesn't care about this, okay? So 20%, 9 days, that could happen in 3 weeks or 2 days, right? Price could take 9 days to get its way down there, or price can chop sideways and then just nuke, you know what I mean? So it's irrelevant. All we just need to do is get there somehow. That's all we care about. Next, Ethereum Classic. Okay, so here's a perfect example again of a more bullish asset. We were able to push price way up and nearly hit the first target. Okay, so again, if this does sell off, you're only going to get the neckline. You are not going to get you're not going to get this low anymore. Okay, that ship sailed. This low is now going to move up here. So basically what we're seeing there is you had this trend that was developing here, right? And it was kind of a smooth, steady trend, but now the trend has gotten more dynamic in thrusting to the upside here. Okay, so see, this trend is dynamic, and then you just shot out of it. Okay, so maybe that's all you get is a back test up here of this dynamic trend, and that's it, right? This thing is going to those targets. Okay, that's why when we posted this, it was around this level here somewhere, and we were hoping from here a sell-off back, but buyers just stepped in and said, I don't think so. So look what we were identifying again. Excuse me. On the oscillators, we had this bullish convergence here from the A point low to the C point low. Lines up with these islands of negative momentum, and they're converging bullishly to the upside. Upthrusting trend line is increasing. RSI approaching areas, oversold areas, right? But these assets could remain in oversold territories for long periods of time before eventually creating some sort of structure there where we could then find ourselves in a divergence scenario, right? So that's what we're looking for on Ethereum Classic. But ideally, we're going to check this in a few days, few weeks, and it's going to be up here, target 1, target 2. You're going to see a post. It's going to say Ethereum Classic has hit take profit target 1. Another couple days later, another post, take profit target 2. It's going to $20, okay? Lock it in. All right, guys. Now look at the difference here on Maker. Depending on, there's kind of two. That's more of a target than a neckline. This, I guess we could say here, was the neckline. So you basically did kind of almost go up and hit what would have been the first target of the smaller structure. So watch, let me show you that. If I bring this to this first structure, copy, paste, bring it up, you basically see how you pretty much hit that zone up here. It fell shy of it, but you made a pretty good attempt at it. Okay, so that would have probably been some sort of, let's see if we hit a fib. Let's see. Yeah, see, look at that. We hit the 618 fib extension right on the head and no more. So what right now is acting as our current resistance level, right? That's our resistance. We're going to later need to turn that into support, okay? SR flip. So maybe we sell off a bit here, we come back up, get above this area, and then we're able to push price up back above that 618 previous resistance, looking left, right? Push price back above it, and then we can shoot those highs. So that's what we're looking for on Maker. Depending on, again, everything that we're looking at depends on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the macro. These are just shit coins in order to accumulate more Bitcoin. That's it. But if Bitcoin says no, then these things are irrelevant assets, okay? That's why I don't care about the underlying asset name up here, right? Maker. All I care about is the pattern. That's why we just charted Ethereum Classic. Do you really think Duck cares about the fundamentals of Ethereum Classic? Absolutely not, okay? But we have a nice, price action development with coinciding variables. That's all I care about. We take that trade every time. We play this robotically. We play the probability. We take our proper 3-to-1 risk to reward. The underlying assets are relevant. Fundamentals don't care. If they align, great. Push our price in our favor. And a lot of times they just release news when we're ready to go long anyways. Makes the coin seem like the project is actually doing something because they released a bit of news and oh, look at that, it's pumping. But yeah, I mean, we don't really care about the asset class, okay? We just care about the structure of price action, okay? Next, moving along, Stellar. Okay, look at that. Last night, jeez. We talked about this. We talked about potential pullback if we could get it. But again, this goes to show you that the bulls are in control here. Okay. Again, if the bears take control on a low time frame, look at the sell-off we're getting. I don't know what's happening across anything else right now. I'm just looking at Stellar. So you guys can tell me in the chat if we're selling off on ETH and BTC. Okay. So basically, what happened last night is, last time we saw this, we were right here, okay? We basically had hit resistance again, but look at this. Resistance, 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 resistance. By the time you hit something like this so many times, you run out of supply at that level and you have no choice but to move up into a new range, develop a new range. Previous level, previous structure becomes the new range low. You have the SR flip. Ideally last night, and we did reject and we did sell off a little bit, okay? But traders closed it above these levels and pushed it up. We were hoping to sell off here. We did not get it. That ship is now sailed. Forget about it, okay? So again, what's happening here, same thing. This is too bullish, okay? We have a trend. That's a trend line that's coming up, okay? Now, the trend line, instead of back testing it and giving us our third touch point, we were unable to do so. Now we're going to be looking for something up here because the trend is going parabolic on us, okay? So it's increasing in its vertical rise, which means buyers are stepping in hot and heavy, okay? So we're looking for that back test here, okay? All right, so if that's the case, let's also take a look at what happened last night. All right, so look at where we hit. Look at our target, guys. Look at that shit. Traders did not settle up above our area. That was it. We decided where that was going to stop, okay? What we did in order to get that is it was simply a measured move, okay, of previous structure. All this was this came down here, right, from our previous measured move, and we did it right here from previous low of the C low, discernible swing low anchor point, where we had a low, a lower low, and then a higher low on price, kind of a swing failure pattern, swing low failure pattern. We take the measured move from there, we took it up to the neckline structure. Neckline was created from back here, okay, and right here. Took that measured move, we copied it, we pasted it, we brought it up here, and that is how we got to where price settled up last night, okay? Check that out. This is why we take profit levels, okay? This is why we do that. Now we proceed to sell off. You would be giving everything back. We're going to square up this level. Watch. It's going to be sick. They're going to give it all back. You're going to come right here. 43 cents, okay? So again, we're watching Bitcoin. We're watching the divergences. This is our new layer long on Stellar XLM. If we can fill in this area, we're going to be, again, you could take that target again. Take it a second time if you want some more, if you missed out. But, you know, ultimately you're going after, you know, the deeper target area. Let me fix these a little. Seems like you can't see it very good. So let me take that, bring it over here, up a little, and we'll take this up here to the highs. Okay, so if this is our, ultimately this is what we care about. Okay, 69 cents on Stellar, which gives us 5 to 1. If we're 5 to 1, we can have a stop at 3 to 1 if our leverage is mindful enough, and our stop could technically be down here. Okay, that gives us plenty of room to breathe. If we're mindful of the leverage, we're trading this at 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x leverage, you're going to be able to do stuff like this as long as you're not over positioned as well, and you can ride something like this out, run up. Even if you were to come and square up this level here, price can still dump into that area without, you know, hitting your stop loss, right? So if you want, maybe you can cheat it up a little bit and use this previous wick, but ideally it'd be nice to even use the C out the gate, right? Just make sure you don't get stopped, right? Use the previous C. This first one is not equitable. It's 1 to 1. That's a coin flip, so we would get rid of that initially, right? This trade though, you're still 2.5 to 1. That's equitable. But as price hits these areas, finds itself and shoots away from it, we could then, you know, bring our stop up and find where that new range low is. Ideally it's going to be this neckline here at 43 cents, and eventually you're going to have a stop here at break even, and you're going to have 15 to 1 R as price begins to move out of the level. Okay, so ideally again we're targeting up here 69 cents. That's going to put in a 1272 bearish butterfly, but it won't be over. A bearish butterfly just starts there. Sorry, let me actually leave that line there. We'll leave this behind. Okay, and this thing can go as high as a 1618. So again, we're going to watch Bitcoin on the upside. If Bitcoin's still running, we can get a little more, we could extend, maybe take, you know, you guys will hear me often say, okay, I just took 40% off or 30% off. Well, the other rest of it still rides to the highs, or do it the opposite way. Take 60% off here and let 30% ride, right? It just depends on your level of risk tolerance and your level of really leverage, price action, Bitcoin, the macro, the FUD, just everything, right? So target one, first target of the measured move has been hit. Ideally we get a sell-off. Further evidence that we may get a sell-off, right? Not only that, but we'll check it later, but I believe the altcoin major to BTC pairings right now are pumping. So if those are pumping, that's more coinciding variables that more coinciding variables that, you know, this is all lining up, okay, for a retrace on Bitcoin to USDT. Next, moving along, we have Monero. Geez, look at that. We painted that line. Look at this. This line is written in just pen, whatever this little brush tool is, okay? Look what happened to our line, okay? It's for a reason, right? So there was gotta be a fib level there, okay? We identified this last night. We went from the swing high X to the swing low A, and we hit the 786 fib level. We marked that as a deep retracement level as a possibility. We're now beginning to sell off at that level where we had a high on price, a higher high, and then proceeded to put in a lower high. Again, swing high failure at a resistance, okay? So this was also going to be similarly, it was a measured move of the structure, again from the low point like we did on that previous one. if we're taking the conservative route. The structure take profit target was definitely hit. Okay, so we hit it, sold off a bit, put in the divergence, put in a little slightly higher high. But again, you could have taken 12% off on a breakout right there off of a measured move. Okay, it's not, this is a daily time frame. Okay, 12% target there, even on 3x, you know what I mean? So like, think about that, you know. All right, so next we are looking like here, what we want to do is back test previous areas as that were previously resistance as support. Okay, so this previous was resistance. We're looking to back test this now as support, get back up into this level, ideally make it here, back test this now as support, and then we shoot our target highs. Okay, so stop below the previous discernible swing low. Okay, so that stop is at 203. So be safe, put your stop at, you know, below 200 on Monero. Ideally, we're looking for this upsloping trend line as our back test area here. We're going to layer in our longs. We're going to find some coinciding fibs right there. So now we're fibbing from the low to the high. We have a 1618 right at the upsloping trend line at our neckline. Okay, that's where we're going. I'll see you guys at $230 on Monero, like tomorrow evening. Moving along. Reef. Okay, so Reef is underperforming. Okay, Reef is not able to even get back to that neckline. You hit those targets. Okay, we filled actually a few bids last night on Reef. We started filling as low as here. Okay. So if you were layered in this box, you filled some orders. Okay, your stop is going to be down here. Ideally, we're looking for some kind of maybe double bottom harmonic structure where we had an X. Excuse me, let me delete that. I don't like that. We were looking for some kind of structure to fall into that zone where we had an X, A, previous low B, current high C, D, 786 retracement, 786. This would be a bullish Gartley at the upsloping trend line support at a third consecutive higher low. This would be a very nice area. Let me actually clean that up. I don't like it. Sorry. Got some lagging going on. Okay, so basically this comes into this area here. I'll delete the harmonic. There's our third higher consecutive higher low. That would also paint what is, oh geez, sorry. That would also paint what is known as a Bulkowski 3 rising valleys. So you basically had one valley, you had a second valley, and then what would paint the third valley. Okay, so three rising valleys pattern with a harmonic. Harmonic is a bearish butterfly painting. Okay, so this is targeting a 1618 golden mean ratio target 2. Target 1 is the measured move of the structure from the lower swing point to the neckline, copied pasted. So you're going to interlayer longs on this trend line. Okay, so you guys could just take Reef on the daily, draw a trend line from February 23rd over to March 25th and extend it up, and then just layer on that trend line. Okay, once we find that, ideally you back test like 3 cents, 0.036 cents. Okay, stop loss below 0.031, maybe 0.03. Put a stop loss targeting 0.06, 0.76. Okay, moving along. Zcash. Okay, Zcash again, bullish asset. Bulls in control. Bears are getting slaughtered here. Bears just hoping for prayer, just for a little bit of relief here to get out of some underwater positions. But we had basically where traders settled up right there. They could not push price above 197. Ultimately, it hit basically 200. and traders cannot settle up above 200. Okay, so that's going to be the area that we gotta worry about flipping in the future. When we go to hit our next target up here, we got to get through this area. Okay, but aside from that, right now all we're mainly concerned with again is our back test of the structure and run. This structure is really clear. Okay, so again we have 3 consecutive higher lows that we're looking to put in. This one is too bullish because you broke way above this. You have again the rise in the trend line it's just getting parabolic on us here. And yeah, so let's see basically what else is happening. Oh, here. Okay, so you also probably hit the same measured move where we measure off of this previous close area to this neckline high. We copy, we paste, we bring this up, and you ripped that measured move last night. You see that? So first measured move hit, second measured move will be here, third measured move will be the harmonic, which will look something like this. X high, A low, B midpoint, put in a consecutive higher low on C, run the highs 1618. There's our take profit target 3. So you would have had targets like this, okay, on typical structure that we're looking at, and you would have had 3 of them. So targets 1, targets 2, and target number 3. Okay, so I could clean this up for you, okay. So we're going to bob and weave as we reach these levels. Okay, so price comes down, double bottom, come up, hit this level, maybe back test a hair again, but ultimately break it, back test it, break it, back test it, break it. Once we fail here, we look for resistance, and then that's when we test them on the way back down. Fall back into levels, find them as resistance, so on and so forth, and we'll end up all the way back here. Okay, so take profit, because this is what we know as the BART. Okay, where you basically paint the Bart Simpson, right? Bart goes up, Bart chops around, Bart comes back down. Okay, I'll introduce you to him here in a few weeks. You guys will see what I mean. All right, moving along. Algo didn't really do much. It's going to need some help here. We're going to need buyers to step in, but basically just hanging around on the neckline. It's possible you get the low one because you weren't able to test that first target. You can see how we have that as a target 1 here, whereas a couple of these other assets hit this level. Okay, so we have just less people buying on this asset, but overall we still like to see take profit target 1, 2, and 3. Target, you could even almost create a 4th target in here, because there's going to be another level down here that's going to happen, and it's going to be the 1272. Okay, so 1272 is right here. I'm looking at this, the 1272. It's also going to be a fib level from the X high to the A low. We're at see this yellow line? It's a 1272 fib level. So we can actually probably mark that as well for another just area to layer out. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 targets on algo. Entry is right here on the upsloping trend line. All right, AVAX. We had a request from AVAX from one of our members, Amy. She's got AVAX bag, so I think so far this is looking like what she's been hoping to see. We charted this at this area where we marked that beginning point. That was 2 days ago. I'm sure, hopefully, things are looking good on her end over there. So our moon bag here is again the 1272 is what we talked about, which is the first. It's going to be a level of interest for sure that we need to be mindful of. Okay, so if we clean that up a bit for now, You can see though how AVAX has yet to even reach the neckline, which means it just has more room to run. So if you're in one of these assets that's already up here and you see an asset that's still down here and you don't know, but you figure it's going to be up here, don't buy this asset that's already played out. Buy this asset that has room to run, okay? Look for this double bottom, get yourself an entry here, and then let's run it, okay? That's just, moving their money around to areas that have better identified risk to reward, okay? Moving along to Litecoin, look at that. Remember that target we had a long time ago on Litecoin? Take profit target 2, and we were saving that extra 30% when we sold on ETH and we sold on Bitcoin. We didn't sell it all on Litecoin. You remember that? Well, look what happened last night. Litecoin hit the take profit target 2 and no more. That was it. So if you guys still had those bids sitting there at 227, which was basically a square up from this level looking back here, if you had that 225, 226, 227 area still layered, solid, okay? Now look, we had this other level identified as critical overhead resistance. That is now going to be flipped to support. Buy zone now moves to that level. We are running that previous structure. Ideally on this one, it ran pretty high. We got to watch out for this guy here, but it's going to be something like this, okay? So let's layer in this buy zone here. Let's identify that buy zone being from 210 as low as the square up down here at 195. So you have a $15 buy zone on Litecoin. You're going to be looking to move out of this potential buy zone. Your first area of interest on the way back up, if price can come down in here, maybe put a double bottom in again. First thing we're going to do is hit target 2 again, okay? That's going to act as resistance, resistance, small pullback, retrace. This is where you could paint a shark, okay? So you have this price action where you put in this shark, okay? 1618 would be like this. It would come up and it would hit like a 886 or a 113, okay? A 113 right there. There's the shark. It's going to paint, watch. And then after the shark paints, what does the shark do? It retraces 50% of the way from the C low to the D high, 50% of the way, okay? So let's identify the 50. The 50 is right here. We've identified the morph. Our buy zone is here. This is where the shark morphs into a bullish 5-0. We're going to basically do this. Low, come up, retrace a bit, put in a slightly lower low, get the bullish divergence to paint. From there, we run up, hit the 113, back test the 50, and then we run the highs. It's going to be a beautiful thing. Moving along to band. Bando, target hit on band. Look at this. Another one. So again, if you guys would have just, even if you would have just bought spot across the board on these, no worry about liquidation, nothing to sweat about, okay? And yeah, you see that square I just erased? That's just our current resistance we're in. And look how price is acting at right now in this level. I don't like that box. That's the box that turns on us here, whatever you call it, rotating rectangle. So this area is now acting as resistance, but it was our take profit target area 1. Look at that. We measured that, so I'm gonna get rid of these, okay? So what we did last night is we took the measured move of the structure, we pasted it up here, okay? Look at that. Traders hit that target, took profit, that was it. No more. It's done. We're down here, close, significant close below the target area. It's not going back for a little bit. Now our long entry area here is still good, still valid on this asset. Let's carry this over here. I'll bring this up just a little bit. Let's fine tune. Okay, so again, we're looking to, from price here, to come down, put in a low, maybe retrace up a little bit, lower low, come up, hit take profit target 1, back test this as support, shoot target 2. Okay, same plan, just it's all the same plan, just in slightly different forms, because each of these assets, basically some pumped above the neckline, some are hanging out below the neckline. They all still are aiming for these targets. Okay, so this is what we're looking for on band. Ideally, here's what's going to happen. Okay, so on the divergences, we had on the MACD, we had basically bullish. I'm going to go ahead and give that class A bullish divergence as you put in a low with a slightly higher low on price. Okay, as these islands are aligning up here with price action. On the RSI, you also put in basically equal levels of relative strength at a double bottom with a slightly higher right leg, which is bullish, the best kind of double bottom. You have double bottoms that do a higher high, a equal low, and a slightly lower low. Okay, these are all Bulkowski in the Bulkowski pattern encyclopedia. You'll find these patterns in there. It's in the Google Drive. Okay, under the T's for Thomas Bulkowski, Encyclopedia of Trading Patterns. So we have bullish divergence on the MACD, we have bullish or equal levels of relative strength on the RSI, we have a higher low on the double bottom. Target up here did a square up. We squared up with price. That was the take profit target area. Squared it up, hit the measured move. Now, as price, basically what's going to happen is this. On the MACD, we're going to basically proceed to sell off. Okay, so we're going to sell off on the positive island. Okay, and then we're going to proceed to go negative on the negative histogram. Okay, and as this comes back up, what you're going to find is that price, the momentum here is doing this. Okay, oh, excuse me, take that back. Let me redraw. Not what we're looking for. That would be fine. That would be bullish convergence. But what we're ideally looking for is actually this to dump on the MACD. And we want to put in a lower level of negative momentum than the previous levels. Okay, so we're looking at this previous level here of negative momentum. We want to put in a lower low on negative momentum. As we do that, this would basically create this new anchor point here, and that is going to be hidden bullish divergence, because what's going to happen is price won't sell off below this previous low. See how this island came from this low? Well, ideally we're looking to put in a higher low, right? So our higher low is going to be up here in the long entry area. If we're able to sell off into this long entry area and maintain price here, that means that when we anchor from this previous low to our new low, okay, that would align with our hidden bullish divergence at the neckline of the structure. That's going to send it. Okay, I will alert the shit out of you guys when it paints. Okay, so you could have put it right now. Send alert. Come over here on TradingView. Put an alert right here. So here's our neckline. That's where we want to already be buying. So we want the alert to happen sooner. So let's do it when we break this previous structure. Okay. So we'll want to add an alert when we cross. We'll even say when we cross down through it. But either way, crossing is fine. So it's setting our alert right there. Alert has been set. If we lose this area where traders settled up, there's stops down there. We hunt those stops. We aim for the square up. We put in the divergence, hidden bullish. We hit the upsloping demand line, upsloping trend line here, and we go long. Okay. That is basically what we're gonna be looking for, this hidden bullish divergence across every single one of these altcoins that we've been charting, okay? Every single one of them. All right, another moving along, AAVE. So we have stops down here below the A, okay? Below the A, below the C. That stop is basically really tight because that A and that C were just slightly off from each other. So doing your stop in this vicinity here would be good for you, okay? It would be more than fine at this moment. You're going to be able to raise it, and ideally you're going to raise it up here somewhere later, but right now we need price to first put in the low, confirm, okay? So we're looking for, again, a buy zone, putting in some kind of thing like this, and then running. We would be, again, looking to paint that hidden bullish divergence. Some kind of harmonic maybe starts to paint where we have kind of an X, A, B, C, D pattern here. Maybe we get a 618, 786, 886 type retracement here, and this would be our long entry where we could layer long now. So we would come up here. This would be area to enter long. Let me make this one a little more, we'll make it red. Okay, so this is our long entry area. No, it's not a target. I don't like it being a target. It's more of a rocket ship. Okay, so that's what we're looking for across the board, right? Same thing. So I'm kind of going to pop through a few of these unless one of them is really discernible, because I want to just pop back over to the majors. Oh, look at the doggy. The doggy, again, we're looking for that consecutive higher low, probably square up at 0.053. Doggy coin gives you a square up right here. Something like that would be your entry. It would be putting in higher low because previous low is down here, right? So our previous low is this point. So as long as we stay above that level here, we know that we're fine, right? On our stop or something would be below that level. Doggy coin, you would enter here and send. Okay, back to Bitcoin. Let's see what's happening. Okay, I'm gonna get back off of the daily and let's go back in a little bit. Give you guys the lower time frame update on this one, just because I know this is the one that basically is going to be the deciding factor. Okay, so now that we've seen what's happening across all these alts, let's see if we can get the hidden divergence on Bitcoin. Okay, so again, we're looking for this third consecutive higher low. Okay, so right now we painted this first low here. So we definitely don't want to see price below 56,420. Price shouldn't really even go below here. Oh, no, I take this back. This is really low time frame. It's very easy that price could go below these. We were on the daily on those other structures, okay? So on these guys, we actually are looking for sweeping of the lows. So we're looking for potentially this sweep because this is a different time frame, okay? So this is our buy zone area down here, 1272, 1414 kind of retracements, okay? So we're still in this area. Let me change time frame again. I think maybe we were on the hour. Yeah, we were on the hour. Not the 30-minute. Okay, there's that divergence we painted starting to play out. There it was. We identified this on the RSI, okay? So we said 1 hour bearish divergence and price is selling off from there, okay? So what we're looking for now is some kind of hidden or just standard bullish divergence. We'll see when we get down here. I'll alert you guys. But look at this POC that we identified. Price did not get back above that level. Price did not get back above this stop area. Putting in three consecutive lower highs, and now we're looking to shoot the low into the buy zone that we've had marked for a while. Okay, so maybe we see some kind of head and shoulders now start to develop right here on the really low time frame. Puts in a measured move, comes down here, hits measured move 1, hits target 2, and then goes in and hits target 3. Okay, so we've been looking at that from a different standpoint, right? We've been watching this on all these alts, right? So what did we just do here, right? So low, higher low, third consecutive higher low. We just painted it at that kind of neckline, right? So now you had price go up, comes back down, paints at that. You're using it as this, flipped it as support, and now you're gonna go shoot the highs, target 1, target 2, and into our targets, right? This is basically like almost the reverse view of the structure, where even if this was the previous neckline here at the B area, you basically went up, back tested the neckline, tried to go up again, failed through the neckline, but then put in a higher low, and now you can run the highs, right? But that's just the inverse look on Bitcoin. Looks like this bearish engulfing candle right here is selling off pretty significantly during this entire stream, so that's really good to see. I hope you guys are picking up on this. I hope that it's getting really repetitive. I hope you guys are looking for coinciding variables. I hope you guys are looking for similarities and patterns, Bulkowski patterns, just all of the above, right? We're trying to paint this picture, create this argument, pretend you're an attorney about to go into court, and you have to create this argument. How are you going to win, right? You have a jury sitting there. The jury basically is your portfolio, and you have to convince your portfolio of which direction this thing's going to go, or your mind, or whatever you want to call it. But you guys see the harmonic there? Do you guys see how easy that was to identify for me? And look, see how they probably will get easier for you in time too, but they're just a bunch of W's or M's, right? So another thing you want to also look for is this is Chainlink, by the way. Okay, so watch. Let's look for those coinciding fibs again. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to clean this up just so you guys can see the fibs real quick. We'll do a quick 101 on Fibonacci's for the way the harmonics paint two fibs, okay? So what we're looking at here, let me get this out of our way as well. Okay, so what we're looking for is determining first very, very identifiable swing high, swing low failure points, okay? Swing low, we had a very discernible one. This very discernible swing high, very discernible swing high, very discernible swing low, very discernible now swing high, okay? So that's step one, even step one to Fibonacci. Step two, fib from the high to the low. We always go from left to right. You can go from bottom to top, but you're still going from left to right, okay? So what did we identify here? 886 fib level, okay? So let's mark it, 886 fib, we marked it. That was from our high to our low, we hit the 886. Now let's do a second fib from our second high to low. What just happened? 1618, golden mean ratio, at the exact same point that we had the previous 886, okay? So see how both of those, we have that red line is in there too. See that red line? It's right there too. Look at that area. That is major confluence. And check it out. As soon as you got there, bearish divergence in oversold areas, okay? So now that you've identified why those areas are marked, let's put the harmonic back on and overlay back over the fibs. Swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low, swing high, okay? What just happened there is, let me dial this in a little bit here, sorry. What just happened there is two things, okay? So this is doing the same thing the fibs did. X to A gives you this D, okay? The 886 is right there from X to A. Then from B to C gives you the second fib, the 618. So both of those fibs are there, even though we don't have them there. We still are identifying that fib level. And you can now see again the overlap in confluence where we have, look at these numbers, you can't even read them because they're sitting inside of each other, okay? Normally we have like a little box area like this where we could kind of basically, you know, identify a zone here, a completion zone. But on Chainlink last night, that thing freaking landed on itself, okay? If you ever see that, and you have divergence, and you have a pattern, and you have coinciding fib levels, I mean, I can't tell you anything more. If what I just said right there doesn't end up clicking with you, nothing will ever click with you, basically, okay? So just that part I just said, rewind it 1,000,000 times. And I'll keep saying it 1,000,000 times, so it's going to get beaten into your head, regardless of if you like it or not. You're going to hear about it. So that's what we're looking for, right? All right, guys. Let me just go back to BTC again real quick. Actually, let's check out Ethereum USDT. Okay, so Ethereum, look at this again, 886 rejection. It barely penetrated that high. That's just liquidations going berserk. It's not about the wicks, it's about follow through price action, and we're below the 886. Okay, and from B to C again, let's do that same thing, right? Sorry, let me delete that. Let me delete the harmonic. Let me delete all this stuff, okay? So what we saw here is from the X, or from the high to the low, let's identify this 886 area here, okay? 886 area identified. Then from the midpoint of the range to the low, we have another 1414. You see how these two aligned at a level here? And we created two areas where the fibs aligned, okay? I could then proceed. We could even zoom in on this. You guys could see what's happening here a little bit clearer. You see where those fibs fell? We then identify that area with our rectangle tool like this, and that basically became your resistance. And look where price is at. Yes, you had price go through it. Follow through price action. Follow through, okay? Not liquidation wicks. I can't help it if somebody's in a FOMO right here and push the price to right here. I mean, what am I supposed to do about that? All right, we just have to be patient and not be over leveraged. And here we go. There's the real resistance. Now we're starting to sell off, okay? So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Plenty more to come, and I'll catch you guys back in the chat.